is my platform. Our welfare system is broken and it needs to be fixed. I've been talking for the last 3 months of possible drug testing. Today was politics. Governor Walker's coming out to implement a program of doing some drug testing, so the man just stole my thunder. So, but I'm a strong supporter of Scott. The other issues we got is we need to get technical schools back up and running again. We need to get technical, just some T&I classes back in the middle school where we can get these young kids interested in T&I and trades and industry. I mean, not everybody needs to go to a 4-year college, and I didn't, and I'm okay. And if we can get these kids at middle school level to build a birdhouse and do something with their hands and get them involved and they can get into the trades, that's what it's all about. We need to start educating the kids and also the parents. We'd all like our kids to be CEOs and CFOs and everything else, but not everybody should have to go or want to go or can go to a 4-year college and pile up debt. We'd like them to be a CFO. What I always say to everybody is pull into a manufacturing lot, look at how many parking spaces are there for the employees and how many spots are there for the CFO, and you figure out the odds. So a good job in the trades is a great job to have, and it's a great career. So he's holding up the stop button, so thank you so much. Tiffany?
I want to bring a unique perspective and voice to Madison. I'm not the wealthiest candidate in this race. I don't have the most backing. My special interest is the people of the 20th district. That is my special interest. And to continue to be a voice for all foster families, for children, for people with disabilities, for nonprofit organizations. And as we go through welfare reform and mental health reform at the Capitol, they have 2 new committees up there. I have insight. So on the Senate side, I can utilize and work with the assemblymen to get really responsible legislation together. And I can also use, I will be on the ground, in the field, like I was for 14 years in the service, and I've been in the American Legion for 12 years serving, from vice chair to being a service officer, and they keep trying to make me a commander, and I said, no, not yet, because I have a lot of other things on my plate with my volunteerism. So, again, thank you for allowing me to be here, and I got the stop sign.
It's a competitive environment out here. We compete with other states, and when other states have lower tax rates, companies and businesses, they look at that. People moving to this state look at that. And I do believe that if we are positioned more effectively in terms of what our tax rates are, that we will draw more businesses, we will draw more employment, we will see that economic growth that's going to enhance our quality of life. So that is something that we need to do, and I fought for that. I have voted for tax reductions, and in the last session we were in session, $2 billion in tax savings were occurred. And again, that's keeping money in the private sector. And that's where that money needs to be, in the private sector, because you're going to be creating more jobs with that. You know, when government gets more money, all they do is they get bigger and gets bigger and bigger, and it takes away our freedoms and our liberties. So that's not what our Constitution ever intended for. That's not what our founding fathers intended for. So again, I believe that we need to cut taxes because we hire politicians to make tough decisions, to prioritize. Unfortunately, a lot of times they don't want to prioritize. They just want more money because they want to spend money. But I think if we cut the amount of money that government gets, they're going to have to make those prioritizations that we hire them to do.
Same thing. All taxes are too high. I mean, I've done public budgets for 25 years. This past year, we had a 0 increase. How do you do it? You tell your staffers, you tell your county administrator, 0 increase. They go to the department heads, they say, guess what? 0 increase. It's pretty simple. We need to reduce our taxes in Wisconsin. Absolutely. This is I mean, I understand the question, but all the candidates are going to say, absolutely, we want to reduce the taxes. It's just a normal thing. How do we do it? Welfare reform. That's one of the biggest, I mean, like 9% of our budget goes into the welfare. You know, we need to reform. We need to make these people accountable. As simple as that. We need to lower our taxes. And when I get to Madison, I have nobody special interest backing me. I have nothing. So I'm not afraid of anybody. What are they going to do? Not fund me? They haven't already. It's not a big challenge for me. So that's what I said. Reduce taxes, all of them. I've done it in the past. I've maintained zero budgets. I had good budgets in the town level, and I'll continue to do that, representing the taxpayer like I do now. Thank you.
Marriage. The definition of marriage is one man, one woman. And I would like to put one time, but I know that's not reality. Marriage is an institution. It's you know, I got into a little bit of discussion with some friends because when God or the Holy Spirit announced to Mary that she would carry our Savior, she wasn't quite yet married to Joseph. So there wasn't a formal ceremony. And I learned some of this stuff when I was in seminary. I spent a year in seminary. And it's real interesting. So that's something new. But it is the basic unit of government. It should be strong. Now, I came from a single-parent household. And God rest my mom's soul, because she passed in 2010. She did the best she could with what she had. She wasn't expecting my father to leave her. But there's all kind of families in Wisconsin. But that's the definition of marriage. Now, abortion, I'm proud to be endorsed by Pro-Life Wisconsin and Wisconsin Right to Life. I just got that endorsement the other day. I believe that every child begins at conception, and I want to protect life all the way to natural death. It's real important that we have a future, and I'm so happy with our current governor, because our clinics are closing and we're shifting the discussion on abortion. We don't want it to be the first option someone who has a crisis pregnancy to think about.
We are a high-tax state, as I said. And no, I think what we need to do is we need to take a lot closer look at the DOT, and we need to really audit them. I think we need to look what they're spending their money on. I mean, how often do we need the bike pass, the jogging lanes, the pedestrian bridges? I mean, are we really spending the taxpayers' money effectively? I mean, that's what we really need to focus on, to make sure we're making good uses of those scarce resources of the public taxpayer dollar. Another way that we are really costing ourselves is with prevailing wage. Prevailing wage is an artificially high wage that is required for most public works projects. It's a scam is what it is, and it needs to go away. And I'm a free market person. We bid for our work, you meet the specs, you do the job. Grafton, Village of Grafton had a water tower. They needed it painted. They bid it out. They felt it was not prevailing wage job. In the end, someone who lost the bid complained. They said that was prevailing wage job. Well, that was all paid, all done. In the end, they had to write a check for over $100,000 to that contractor who had done the job not as prevailing wage, and pay fines to the state of Wisconsin. We need to do something about prevailing wage, and then we can look at that transportation budget. Thank you.
I'm not in favor of any raising of any taxes, and it certainly shouldn't be on the gas. Just because we have a little dip in the price right now of gas, it's really cool filling up your vehicle for $1.89, but that's not going to stay around. If anybody thinks it's not going to happen, he's exactly right. Prevailing wage needs to go away. And we need to audit, like he said. All of us have the same ideas. You know, you need to get rid of the taxes. You need to lower the taxes. Absolutely, prevailing wage. The other thing is, when you do the audit, where are you going to find the money? That's the whole thing. And my big deal is, you find it in welfare reform. 38% of the people are on welfare in Wisconsin. You got 800,000 people on food stamps. If we can just reduce that by 10%, it's 82,000 people left off the dole. So that's where we can find money to stick into our transportation budget. Look at our roads. They're shambles. You go out of the state of Wisconsin, they look a lot better.
Taxes since I was 16 years old when I had my first job. And one of the areas I'm really interested in exploring, and I know some of our neighboring states have also explored it, but is to eliminate the income tax. I'm really interested in seeing how that would benefit our state of Wisconsin, because not everybody pays their fair share, meaning there's a lot of underground economies in Wisconsin, and a lot of people continue to look at people that get up in the morning and go to work to take care of everything, and it's not fair. So if we remove those income taxes, and we, you know, we would have to look at how we would balance things and smooth it out so everyone's paying their fair share. I think that that is fair. And I'm not in favor of increasing fees, you know, the sneaky taxes coming out of the nonprofit sector. Nursing homes, for instance, they have a bed tax. I mean, geez, you know, you're laying there trying to get better, or you're laying there in your last days and they're taxing you. And also, our estate tax, I would like to see that removed, because we need to keep Wisconsinites here in Wisconsin and not over in Florida or Arizona, where everybody scatters to. I mean, yeah, it's cold, but the biggest thing that drives Wisconsinites out of Wisconsin is the estate tax. You work all your life, you should be able to keep what you earn and pass it on to the next generation. And that's just the way I see it.